Support comes from the Missouri Forest Products Association, providing more than 41,000 jobs in the production of wood pallets, railroad ties, white oak barrels, hardwood floors, and more. Details at choosewood.com.
From the St. Louis Public Radio Newsroom, this is The Gateway. It's Friday, May 24th. I'm Wayne Pratt. Ahead, 80 staff members at a call center in South St. Louis County schedule all of the burials for the Veterans Administration's 136 national cemeteries.
Sometimes the call starts off with, "My father passed away last night, and I don't know what to do."
St. Louis Public Radio's Mary Leonard talks to the people who work at the National Cemetery Scheduling Office. First, the news. St. Louis Mayor Lyda Krewson wants voters to decide whether to get rid of the city's residency requirement for workers. Krewson made the first State of the City speech in recent memory yesterday. She spent her address talking about the city's efforts to pare down vacant buildings and fight crime. But Krewson also urged aldermen to rethink the requirement for some employees to live in the city, contending it's an impediment to hiring good people.
Expanding the pool of applicants is not a cure-all. It's not going to be the only thing we need to do. But it does remove one barrier to hiring.
Past efforts to get a charter amendment to voters on the residency requirement have faltered. St. Louis Board of Aldermen President Louis Reed expects that push to have more momentum this year. The school year will start about a week later after a change approved by Missouri lawmakers. The tourism industry in the state says it will be good for business. But as St. Louis Public Radio's Ryan Delaney reports, school administrators worry about scheduling.
3.5 million people visit Lake of the Ozarks from Memorial Day to Labor Day. Casey Cloak, executive director of the Lake Area Chamber of Commerce, says more August vacation means one more trip to the lake.
1 week at the lake that's tourism-driven has a huge impact on the region.
But Missouri Association of School Administrators spokesman David Luther says the later start date likely means having a later last day of school.
Technically, is it really a longer summer? Because, you're going to be going past Memorial Day in many cases.
The law sets 14 days before the first Monday of September as the earliest school can begin, and it eliminates a commonly used exemption to start sooner. For the school year beginning in 2020, classes won't be able to start until August 24th. I'm Ryan Delaney, St. Louis Public Radio.
The National Weather Service says the tornado that blew through Jefferson City late Wednesday packed winds of 160 miles per hour. That's classified as an EF3. It also cut a path 3 miles long and 1 mile wide. A curfew went into effect last night for parts of Jefferson City as crews clean up the storm debris. No deaths were reported in the state's capital city. About 20 people were hurt. Employees at the National Cemetery Scheduling Office in South St. Louis County schedule all burials in the Veterans Administration's 136 national cemeteries. Those workers say it's more than a job, it's a duty. Reporter Mary Leonard visits the office that handles about 1,000 calls a day.
Good morning, National Cemetery Scheduling Office. This is Drayton. How can I help you?
About 30 times a day, Drayton Denson picks up the phone in his cubicle in a small brick office building on Lee May Ferry Road. He works at the National Cemetery Scheduling Office. It's a call center that schedules all burial times for the VA's 136 national cemeteries. They're located in 40 states and Puerto Rico.
How's your day going? Yeah, it gets better, though.
Most of the time, it's a funeral home calling. But some calls, like this one, are from family members of veterans who have just died. Denson says that because he's a veteran himself, he wants to be more than just a distant voice answering a toll-free phone number.
I served 23 years active duty and represent this great country, but there's more for me to do. Right now it's here at the scheduling office to make sure that veterans get that best care and let them know that, hey, we can get through this together.
Denson is one of 80 scheduling agents who handle about 1,000 calls a day. He says working at the call center is more than a job, it's a duty. The VA's National Cemetery Administration opened the call center in 2007. On May 3rd, staffers packed into a small conference room for a ceremonial ribbon cutting. Director Ginger Wilson says they were celebrating a much-needed $1 million upgrade of technology and staffing. In years past, callers might have waited 2 hours to speak to an agent, especially on Mondays, the office's busiest day. Now, the average hold time is 5 minutes. Wilson says agents must be prepared to serve funeral home professionals who know the process and people who have no idea where to turn.
Sometimes they just Google and they come across our phone number and they call us. And sometimes the call starts off with, "My father passed away last night and I don't know what to do."
Scheduling agent Priscilla McDowell says those are the calls that leave a lasting impression.
One of the recent calls that I had, and this was a wife that was laying her husband to rest, and he was a Vietnam veteran. When he came home, he burned everything. He burned his clothes. He burned all of his documents. So she had nothing to go by.
Using the veteran's social security number and date of birth, McDowell located his records and confirmed that he was eligible for burial in a national cemetery.
To all of my veterans out there, we will be here for you. Last call, last honor.
Sherry Harmon says her job may be behind the scenes, but she's proud to help veterans get the dignified burials they deserve, whether that's at Jefferson Barracks National Cemetery, which is just down the road from the call center, or in a national cemetery 1,000 miles away.
As long as I've been working here, I was always understood that the veteran, he may die in his physical body, but as long as he's interred at the National Cemetery, his name will always be spoken. You never die till your name is no longer said.
The call center is open 7 days a week, except Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's Day. Last year, agents answered 300,000 calls and scheduled more than 135,000 burials. I'm Mary Leonard, St. Louis Public Radio.
Our David Caceres edited that report. The executive editor of St. Louis Public Radio is Shula Newman. Music by Ryan McNeely of Adult Fur. We will be off Memorial Day Monday, so this podcast will return on Tuesday. I'm Wayne Pratt, and from the St. Louis Public Radio Newsroom, this has been The Gateway.
Support comes from the Missouri Forest Products Association. Missouri produces wood pallets, railroad ties, white oak barrels, hardwood floors, and more. Details on the variety of products made in the state are at choosewood.com.